A2TP podcast. We are back and we are fucking live.
Are you allowed to curse on live?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
We are live. What's up, people? We appreciate y'all stepping in, however many people it is. A2TP podcast, episode 40. We getting up there. It's been 40 weeks. Check us out. Like, comment, share, join the live. A2TPodcast.com. We'll be able to go to that soon. Actually, the first phase of it is done. You can go to it and check it out.
Do we want them to go yet? Well, you said it now, so everybody's gonna go.
Go to it and check it out. So yeah, you can get the podcast there. You can get it on Anchor. You can get it on Breaker, and we are on Spotify.
Whoop,
so
whoop.
check us out. We coming for that Apple Music. We be there soon, but we are up on Spotify, so check us out there.
Don't forget about YouTube though. Still keep subscribing on
yeah.
YouTube, sharing, commenting. I gotta give a shout out to my girl Crystal. She lights up the comments on YouTube. She keeps a good dialogue there. So thank you for that support. Thank you for all the reposts and the shares. As he said, the website, I didn't know he was going to tell y'all yet because it's still going through phases. There's still some edits and stuff that are needed, but he has worked extremely hard in getting it up and running. It's all the details, linking all the stuff. I thought I was pretty good with like computers and technology and stuff. Some of this stuff, the other day, we was on YouTube and had other stuff, the phone, and we was trying to do some coding and map this. Nah,
it's a process.
This ain't for me. I was like, I ain't no coder. This all. It sounds easy in theory. I could understand what I was reading, but to actually do it, nope, couldn't do it.
Yeah, but keep liking, keep commenting, keep sharing. Most of importance, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. But we are up on Breaker, we are up on Anchor, we are up on Spotify, and we will be up on Apple Podcasts. So soon to be.
Yes. Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Appreciate it.
Wait a minute. You didn't say who you were. You didn't introduce
yourself. It's your boy International Walt. They know who I am.
But you didn't introduce yourself. Don't just assume.
International Walt.
And your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
That's what you wanted, really. You didn't want to fucking introduce me. You just didn't say I want to fucking be an introduction.
Well, you always say I want to be in control, so I didn't want to take over.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good.
No, how are you?
No, I'm good. I'm better. Much, much better than I was last week. If y'all saw last episode 39, I really was...
It was a bit grim.
I was in the dump. I wasn't grim.
I'm asking.
I was in the dumps.
It was a bit grim.
I was in the dumps.
You had the blues?
I did have the blues. I was really going through something. We were going through something together, but then I was going through something personally, and that compounded because that's my best friend. So when I'm going through something, I talk to him, and when we not good, it was like, now he was asking me like, you are? I'm like, yep, I'm good. And I wasn't, but
lying ass.
It was like, I don't know if you consoling me is going to be as sincere as it is, and I didn't tell him. And
there's levels to this. There's friendship, there's wife and husband, and there may be something else, but there's levels to this. So I could be in a pocket for friendship, I could be in a pocket for husband shit, and I could be in a pocket for when we doing wild shit.
I get all that, but I was mad at you for being mad at me. So then when I was sad, it was like my friend not really being my friend right now. Not saying you were wrong, but still, I was being petty. I was mad at you for being mad at me, so I just felt like, and sometimes...
How does that sound when it comes out?
It sounds stupid, but I don't care. Sometimes, I don't want to burden you with my sadness.
I'm just saying, how does that sound when it comes out?
I went past that. It sounds stupid. I acknowledge that, but I'm just saying, I don't always want to burden you with my sadness. So, I, kind of kept to myself. Long story short, I'm doing better. Therapy works. That's all I'm gonna say. And no, does it solve every single problem? Is it like a magic potion? Sometimes it feels like that, but sometimes just having a good cry, a good talk, being able to say things that not everybody really understands. And your therapist may not even understand, but it's their job to understand, and at least they have the education and knowledge to. So I feel better. to answer your question. So I would say last week I think I was like what did I say?
I didn't even get to that yet.
Was I a 4 last week?
I don't know. You wasn't no 4. You never been a 4.
A 5.
You never was a 5.
A 6.
You was like a 6.5 maybe. I can go back and look, but.
All right, I was pretty in the dumps, but today I'm better.
So, now that we got that straight, what is your mental?
My mental is probably I'm an 8. I feel good.
An 8?
Yeah, I feel good.
What's your finances like?
My finances is a 10, cause you know.
You looking at it?
Yeah. He act like I don't get to the bag too.
I'm just saying. You looking at it. What's work?
Work is
4.
I'm just waiting for you to make me.
Cause Floozy back.
We don't say names.
I didn't say a name.
I'm waiting for you to make me a stay-at-home wife / production assistant, so that I could. I'm not even giving a 2-week notice. I'll probably give like a.
When the bag come in for this, you're still not gonna be a stay-at-home wife.
But the real bag is in here. I need the.
Under
piece.
no circumstances can you be a stay-at-home wife.
Under none.
Well, I gotta hit the lottery or something. That's one circumstance. But until then, get up off your ass and go get something.
That's my goal. That's my dream job.
You know what I'm saying? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry.
good.
I was looking at the comments because I didn't want to like ignore the people. Are we gonna do that at the end, or how do you feel about that?
I was just saying, you got to multitask.
How are you?
I'm straight. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? We doing a show or what?
All right. No. How really are you?
I'm good. I'm
what
good.
are you? What number would you say
overall?
You were? Yeah.
Probably an 8.5.
Oh, that's really good.
That's all 3 categories combined.
And wait, I just want to say this because I know we have some new viewers. One of our sisters who doesn't watch, so they probably wonder like, what's this number thing about? But you'll catch on. I ain't gonna call no names, nurse, but there we go.
But we don't do names.
I didn't say names.
Yeah, that's so fucking
right.
obvious.
So where's your mental? How's your mental?
Mental is a 9. I'm sharp.
Oh, you're pretty
like
good.
A Ginzu steak knife right now.
You're such an old man. That was so corny. That was so corny. All right, what's your money looking like?
10.
Because you're looking at the bag. That's why.
Did y'all see how cheesy and corny that was? Like, seriously, did you see her body language? Like, she was holding that in her pocket all day to get that out. Okay.
All right, what's work like?
Work is a 9.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, work is good.
If work is a 9, work is a, anytime work is a 9 for anybody, that's good.
Yeah, work's a 9.
Yeah.
Wows and woes. What's your wows and woes?
I would
What's your
say
ups and downs?
My wow of the week
What's
was.
your love it's and fuck it's?
I like that.
What? Your love it's and fuck it's?
Yeah. My wow of the week, we spent some good time with. Actually, we had a great weekend. We went to see a comedy show Friday. We spent some great time with family on Saturday. You know, that made for a good weekend.
The last was much needed on Saturday. Miss Pat tore that shit down.
That was Friday.
Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, so that it was an overall good weekend filled with love, laughs. So that was my wow. Just, you know, having some peace of mind.
Yep. What was your woes?
My woe, you know, work was a little, I found out just some changes, managerial changes being made, and may potentially have to work with somebody who I don't work well with. But I feel like really that's a sign from God saying your next level is on the way. So, because the devil is on the way.
Or if it's just you gotta work with Boosie.
Stop calling names. But yes, I mean that was my only woe. But you know, I'm still grateful for a job, and it is what it is.
Okay.
So, what was your wow of the week?
My wow of this week was just looking forward to this. Looking forward to going live, being able to hit episode 40. Was looking forward to it. Was super excited about what you was gonna do, because yeah, you know, as the show goes on, people will see I'm getting interviewed, but just curious to see what you was up to.
Okay.
So,
you trust me?
About that. Yeah, I had no choice.
I mean, but do you have confidence that, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know I got you.
Yeah, I got confidence in you.
All right. And what was your woe of the week?
My woe is always my man's at work. You know, I don't want to speak names, but you know, my guys at work, and when one of them going through something, we all feel it. So I just, you know, I hate to see him go through shit. I hate to see him down. I want to see him win so bad, because I know he got it in him. Yeah, so when I see, you know, my friend hurt, I hurt a little bit. I hate coming to work and seeing him go through shit. I just wish I could snap my finger and he be straight. So that's a will. So keep your head up, stay positive, and you know I'm always here for you, bro.
This new you, I feel like after 20 years, I'm still learning you because of this act 2, this new phase of your life. And this compassionate you is like, hey, like, I love it. Like, and it's crazy because anybody who knows me know I've always been a little bit of a crybaby in the sense of that being very emotional. And now you always say, you call me a stone because
it is. It's like getting blood from a stone, getting a tear from you.
Because I just.
But I could cry at fucking anything.
Exactly.
Like,
it's weird. Like
order.
No, not just Law and Order. Not just Law and Order. It'll be a Hallmark commercial that technically their marketing team wants you to feel emotional. Right. Well, he should get a bonus for whoever is the marketing person that created these commercials, because he will cry. Now, don't get me wrong. It's my husband. He a gangster. He ain't no PUSSY. But he will cry at the drop of a dime. And I'll be like,
I'm on a healing journey.
Are you crying? So, he'd be like, you never cry for anything.
On this healing journey, you got to let it out. So if I see any kind of commercial of a woman being mistreated, or a kid, or just a story or something,
a commercial,
shit like that,
y'all, so that means
like,
it's not real.
It's just bad. They shouldn't air that kind of shit then. They shouldn't air that kind of shit.
Don't let that the Heart of an Angel commercial with the dogs.
But the compassion comes from just being around good people, seeing a different side of myself and opening up.
I like it.
And I was ready to say, I love my guys, and I just wish them all the best.
Real men cry.
I want to see him win, and I know he gonna win. So yeah.
I'm excited. So in preparation for this episode, of course, I was thinking, you know, I always like corny little metaphors and stuff like that. But when you hear episode 40, y'all know we've been doing an episode every week, and so that means 40 weeks. What happens in 40 weeks?
What happens?
Like in life, what traditionally happens in 40 weeks?
A baby or something?
Yes, that's the gestational period for a woman. So it made me think like, wow, you've been nurturing and growing, and
that's definitely from a woman's perspective.
Well, maybe because I'm a woman, but it just made me think like, wow, 40 weeks, and this is like, are you going to? Did your water break?
No, water didn't break.
Not really, like, you know.
My fucking water didn't break.
But it's not like this is the end, because of course, just like when a woman has a baby, that isn't the end. It's actually like the beginning of a new phase. So it just made me think of that correlation, like, this is 40 weeks.
Not for me.
I'm pushing it.
Yeah. The goal was not the goal, but the first initiative is to get a year. That's 52 weeks.
I get it. So I'm not saying this is like signifies the end of anything.
But at 52 weeks, then it's like, okay, I would feel like I gave birth then.
I'm not saying it's well. You can't if you're pregnant for 52 weeks. I don't think you can be.
I might have a 1-year-old.
You're not going to have a 1-year-old. We have this discussion. He wants to know why, when a baby is born, aren't they 9 months or 10 months, and then in 3 months they're 1 year old.
That's like, how they do in China.
We're not in China, baby.
I'm just saying.
When you're born, that's day 1. That's not, week 41.
You was. Well, then we lead into the conversation of abortion. I'm about to say you go into what's
this is a celebratory episode.
Okay,
we
but
are
then
not
don't go down that road.
Then
Don't go down that road, because you start talking about what's a baby and what's not. So if you're gonna say this is a baby and you can't abort it, then you should count the days that it's living, and it's living inside the belly.
It's a fetus. First, it's a zygote.
When is it a baby?
When it's born.
So it's not a baby no other time?
It's a fetus.
When is it a baby?
When it's born.
So only when it comes out it's a baby?
I think, yeah. It's called a fetus when it's in your belly.
Come on.
And then you have it and it's
a
baby.
Stop.
Nevertheless, this is your baby. This is week 40. You're having a baby. You're having
you know,
a baby.
Goddamn well, that thing in there kicking is a baby.
All
A
right.
goddamn fetus.
You just took,
I'm
like,
just
this
saying,
is supposed to be
go
your baby shower.
I'm on water didn't break and it ain't no goddamn baby shower.
All right, but just thinking of this being your gestational period, let's take that out of it. This is week 40.
Okay.
How do you feel today at week 40 versus how you felt at week 1 versus week 20?
Week 1, I felt super scared, super paranoid. I knew like it was something I wanted to do, and I knew I was going to do it, but I was super paranoid, super scared. And then obviously in the beginning, I always thought I was going to be by myself. So it was like, that's the kind of, the transition on my mind was to think, okay, I'm going to do this by myself and I'm going to be talking. I got to get ready to be in front of camera and blah, 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 blah. And after all them years of kind of being secluded and not being on camera or not wanting to be talkative and in the limelight a little bit, yeah, I felt super, super scared.
So what happened that made you decide?
And I mean, at episode 20, I felt not, and you would think that's 20 weeks, right?
Yeah, because
I
we
didn't
did one
feel
per week.
that comfortable.
And you, when you think about it, episode 20 is 5 months later.
I didn't feel that comfortable. I felt better than I did episode 1, which
Okay.
I can look back and be like, what the fuck? Like, it's horrible.
I don't think it was horrible.
I'm critiquing myself.
Okay.
It's my opinion. I can look back and be like, damn, like you look scared to death. And at 20, I wasn't that scared, but it wasn't like, I felt like, yeah, I still was a thought in my mind of,
you can get better.
your shit together, get better. And it just gets better in small increments. That's what I notice about this. So in week 40, I feel like I'm better. I feel like I'm more comfortable, but I see so much more growth in front.
Okay. What's your reason for doing this? Like, I know Act 2, the podcast, I know that you've had lots of conversations in-house about it. You watch hours and hours and hours and hours of podcasts. And it used to drive me crazy because I'm like, how can you just sit and listen to people talk? And then I would, some of them would catch my ear and I would be interested in it. But what's your reason for doing it? What's your why?
My why is, that's a good question. Most of my adult life, due to my own behavior, I lived a suppressed existence. So I didn't talk much, I didn't make friends, I didn't go a lot of places, I didn't do a lot of things. I just wanted to go to work, come home, and do it all again the next day. So I had held a lot in. And as I was growing into the small increments that I realized like I have a voice. When you start seeing the world in a different perspective, some stuff on the news, some stuff on social media, you start to have an opinion about stuff. I mean, not an opinion like about every goddamn thing, but stuff that is near and dear to your heart or that might pique your interest. So when I noticed that I started to have an opinion about that stuff, it was like, okay, one day I want to talk about this stuff. Like, I want to be able to have my opinion, my voice too. Like, I feel like I'm intelligent, I'm articulate, and I have an opinion too. So I don't know how worthy it is, but I live here. I'm in this society too, and I can speak on these issues. I can speak on my marriage. I can speak on, I had having a 20-year relationship. Like, I can speak on a lot of stuff that I didn't speak on in years past. So I just felt like once I get my shit together, I got something to say.
That's good. And so it's weird because when you say speak on these topics and talk and what do you feel was so appealing about doing a podcast as opposed to, not to say you about to go back to like journalism school or something like that, but
I wouldn't do that.
right. But what was so appealing about doing a podcast versus some other mode of another vehicle used to communicate your opinions, your thoughts, your beliefs, and all of that?
Just moving with just watching podcasts and knowing that moving with the times. Like, technology is moving forward, the internet's moving forward. People don't watch network TV no more. I'm not going to be on a network show doing anything or talking.
You could be up there with like Jim Gardner and Lisa Thomas
CNN.
Lord.
I'm not going to be on something like that. But the fact that we have this technology and I can go on a video or make a video or have something to say, then I can do that and click, just put it up. And if people fuck with it, they fuck with it. If they don't, they should.
Ow. Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Who is International Walt? We know this is Act 2, the podcast. Give us some insight into Act 1. So right now, today, you're 44. What was life like at... I'm not going to go back to 4 years old. I don't even know if you remember 4 years old. But what was life like at, let's say, 14?
Life at 14. I wasn't International Walt.
No. Nah.
I was prime, and I was in the streets heavy at 14, like selling drugs, robbing the bread man, the chip man.
First of all, young kids today in this generation, they couldn't even grasp the concept of the bread man that used to come and deliver bread to the corner store.
Yeah. And that's when I used to carry cash. Back then, the bread man, the chip man, the vending machine man. He used to put the money in the arcade, all that kind of stuff. Like, I was bad in the streets. Like, yeah, at 14, I was like in the thick of it.
So what was your reason? Or did you think about it? Like, why? Not every 14-year-old is out there. We have nieces and nephews, not every 14-year-old is out there robbing people.
It's the environment that I grew up in. I grew up around 26 in York, York the Dolphin, 25th to 27th. Grew up in that box. And in that environment, that's just what it was. Like, I didn't have parents that gave me stuff. My mom was doing her thing. My dad was doing his thing wherever he was at. And yeah, it was the environment. I was just a kid in that environment that wanted his own sneakers, wanted his own clothes, knew that he couldn't get it from his mom, and I was out there.
So
that was the motivation, and also peer pressure. Like, I can't lie and say it wasn't peer pressure, it was just that. But being young, not having a dad, wanting a sense of acceptance around your friends and shit like that. So yeah, all that played a part into it in hindsight as I look back.
Did the fear of jail ever enter your mind? Like, I know for me, I won't steal a stick of gum. And partly just because my morals won't let me,
right.
But I couldn't even imagine, like, going to jail. Like, so did why didn't the fear of jail, because obviously you weren't afraid, why didn't the fear of jail enter your mind?
To be honest, and I'm not saying this is for all kids, but for me, the fear of jail isn't in you until you go to jail, because you never experienced it. So all you see is movies and what people say and shit like that. But until you have a perspective or an experience, then you don't know what kind of emotion to put there. You think you down, you gangster. Yeah, I ain't snitching. I do 40 years, but you don't know what that shit look like, because you ain't never experienced it. You don't know what that look like until you get in a place like that, and then you experience it, and it's like, oh, this shit for dummies. Like, I don't want to be here 40 years. Like, I don't want to be living here like this. So yeah, you don't have the fear of jail. I didn't have the fear of jail until you go.
So how old were you the first time you went to jail?
I got locked up as a juvenile with a handgun, 15.
Jeez, 15 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
A gun is heavy. Like, that's the first thing that popped in my head. We've been to the range, we shoot a gun is heavy. Even today, when we hear about so much violence in the streets, I just think to myself, how these kids not knocking their teeth out or giving themselves black eyes? A gun is heavy. So you 15 with a gun, was it, again, just for acceptance? Was it for protection? Did you feel like you needed a gun to do, or was that a part of your criminalistic endeavors? Like, what was Why did you have a gun?
A gun didn't...
Wait, why did you have a gun, and where did you get a gun from?
You could, back then in the 90s, you could buy a gun from anywhere. It was a Chinese guy.
I guess that's still the same.
That used to drive up and open a trunk and sell guns. It used to be white people that drove up, and instead of having money for drugs, they had guns, like brand new fucking guns. So you get guns from anywhere. A smoker would come up who stole their cousin's or uncle's or brother's gun, brand new, and they trade that off for drugs.
So you was trading crack for guns? I mean, I'm just asking.
I got guns off the street.
Okay.
I got guns off the street.
I'm just asking.
But you making it seem like that was my profession, like.
No, but that's you. That's how it.
I probably traded some crack for a gun. Yes.
Is that not what he said? Like, that's how I.
But I just
interpreted
was saying, I got guns off the street. Like, that was easy. And initially, having a gun for me wasn't a criminalistic thing. Like, I didn't get a gun to be or have a need to be a criminal. Like, I got a great heart. I had a great heart as a kid. I didn't want to do bad shit. I did bad shit because I felt like it was my only option. That's why I did bad shit. But I didn't want a gun because I'm going to do some criminal shit. It was the environment you grew up in. You know, people that get shot, people that get robbed, people that get their chains, their jackets took. And again, you might be a kid who, I got that same jacket. I got them same shoes, and I'm not getting robbed for my stuff. So initially, it's for protection. But in that environment, just because it's the street, it gets out that you now carry a gun. So in that environment, and again, like I told you, amongst men, always there's a low level of violence in the air. Always. In any crowd of men, there's a low level of violence because somebody could say something to somebody that's offended, and each person can take that a different way. So whether you having a fucking conversation about the NBA, if it's 10 men talking about the basketball league, there's a low level of violence there. If there's 10 men talking about strip clubs, there's a low level of violence there. And that kind of environment and air, you want to protect yourself because you know, okay, this person that I might get into an argument with, they got a gun. So it's not like they gonna fight me. They carrying a gun because they scared.
You know what's crazy? So many, as you're talking.
So it's a fear thing to answer the question. Out of fear is like, okay, this is why I think I need a gun.
As you're talking, it makes me again think about all the kids getting shot today. And everybody always say, oh, they don't fight like they did back in the day. Yeah, they did used to fight back in the day, but this is nothing new. This gun violence, like, you know, they talk about the conspiracy theorists, talk about them flooding our neighborhoods with guns. But if the Chinese man was bringing, popping the trunk with guns, that's like some real life TV movie stuff, but it was happening in real life. So,
yeah, like, and
crazy.
Frequently, it wasn't like it was there was a lot of guns around. And heavy like artillery, like we was 15, 16. Where the hell we get machine guns from?
Yeah,
people's trunks, like smokers walking up, like that's where you got guns from. Nobody was going to the store, the gun show, buying goddamn AK-47s and sawed-off shotguns. Like that shit was available on the street readily, easily.
It's just amazing to me that fear wasn't there. But I understand you say from your environment, you know, the need for protection and to fit in slightly superseded the fear of the consequences. All right.
And
so
also, what I did notice not to lead too much into this, but also carrying a gun, what also comes with that when you start to fear and you're carrying a gun for a while, carrying a gun eliminates your options. So you start to feel different as you carry a gun. You walk around and you know certain situations that you can get in, you could easily get out of because I got a gun. So it limits it. Walking around with a pistol changes your options. If you don't have a gun on you, you'll think a little bit outside the box on how to resolve some shit. If you have a gun on you, you might go 1, 3, and then gun. You're not going to get the 10. But if you think rationally without a pistol, you might get the 10 and get out the situation by using your head or something like that. If you can. If you can't, then you can't. Some situations warrant it.
Okay. So let's get back to 14, 15-year-old Walt, well, you weren't international Walt then, but 14, 15, you go to you get locked up for the first time, juvenile. So you're 44, that's 14, 30 years ago. Leading up to 24, what was life like? After 15, what happened up until the age of 24?
Wow. 24. All right. So at 19, I got locked up again, and I had my record expunged as a juvenile.
Okay.
So that was done when I was 18. I got locked up when I was 18. The year I turned 18, I got locked up again. Didn't go to court. Stayed out for like 4 or 5 months. Police came, kicked my door down, got me again, was locked up. Stayed locked up for 8 months, then got out, got retried on the same case, got locked back up for 6 months. Got out.
Sound like a revolving door.
Got out again. Then at 19, I was cool, was out, was fine. And at 19, me and some other dudes, not gonna speak no names, did some dumb shit, took some money, and life went to shit there. Because I was in a situation of a bond where it was like, okay, this is unraveling, and these people that I did this with is saying that I did something that I didn't do.
So you did some things, but everything you were accused of, you didn't really do.
Right.
So they made it bigger than what it was.
Right.
Okay.
So at that point, I wanted to just remove myself from the situation. So that's what I did. And I removed myself from the situation. So at 24, I was shit. I mean, I was working with your dad at 22.
Okay.
I'm just saying 22, 23. So at 24, I was working. I was out the drug game. I was out of robbing people. I was out of doing anything illegal. So that's where I was at 24. So in between 15, 19, and 24, all that happened.
What was the catalyst for you to decide, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing anything illegal that's going to potentially get me in trouble?
The experience of prison, the experience of jail. Yeah, the experience. Like, again, you don't have perspective until you go there. Now, it took a few times, but the perspective of being there, your spirit down, not being able to do shit. It's true when they say people, leave you, not necessarily girls or anything, but just being out of touch. Like, that shit's for, it's, I don't know how to say it. It's really for bad people. But I'm
Jail's
not bad.
really for bad
I'm
people.
not bad. And like murderers and rapists and child molesters and shit like that. Like, them kind of people should be locked up. But I guess,
But not robbers.
I guess in hindsight,
Okay.
I would think, yes, I was doing some things that warranted being locked up. But the perspective of being locked up made me think, this shit ain't for me. This is not somewhere I want to be for 30 years or 20 years or 10 more days. Like, I want out now.
Okay, 14, 15, 18, 19, you kind of go back and forth, like Ring Around the Rosie, back and forth to jail. Then you committed a crime, and now you're really facing some trouble. So you remove yourself from that situation. How did that force you to change your life and how you moved and operated?
You mean like just the changes, like the good, the bad?
Yeah, like how, what actions did you have to take? What tangible things did you have to do in order to change your life and to stay out of prison?
I had to seclude myself completely. Like, I had to just focus on work, just focus on a relationship that I was in. Again, I didn't make friends. I was an introvert, and it made me. It was a decision I made that I stand on to this day, but because I did it for me, but it affected my relationship with my daughter. It affected my relationship with all my brothers. It affected my relationship with my sister, who was younger than me. So there was a decision that I kind of knew the ramifications. Obviously, I didn't know how deep they would be, like in the latter years. But I knew that these relationships will be affected because of um, who I think I have to be to get through this.
Okay. So from 24 to 34, you still weren't international Walt then, and we know just from previous episodes you talked about really dark times that you had. Shed some light on that about how those dark times, like you said, you didn't really make a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a relationship with an amazing woman, but there were also, I mean, I'm just saying, there were also challenges there, familial dysfunction, but there were some constants in your life as well. So talk about how your personal situation, the personal situation and turmoil that you had internally, and how that manifested itself externally.
I think the constant I had in my life at that time that I saw was work. Like that was the thing that I had spent years doing. When you talk about being, I'm 34 now. Like at that age, I had spent years working and perfecting my craft at what I do, and yeah, I spent years doing that, trying to perfect my craft at what I do. And what was the second part of the question?
Just how did your, so you were working, that was the constant in your life, but you still had a lot of internal turmoil.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't realize how constant you were at the time. Like I just felt like I had 2 4-year relationships, and it was like, I know we were past that, but you know how we both had this conversation before. It just was like, like
for me, I felt like I didn't completely feel secure until we were past that 4-year mark, because you had did 4 years twice before.
Right.
So then it was after that. It still took some time to get there, but you know.
Yeah. So.
But at 34, we were at year 10.
Yeah, but it was. I'm saying how I felt.
So you trying to tell me you ain't know that this was real after 10 years?
I knew it. I didn't say that. You said
I'm just
that.
messing with
I wanted
you.
to say I didn't say that. I knew it was real, but you know, you have disappointment in your life. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, I don't want this situation to disappoint me. Plus the turmoil that you're talking about. I knew that any day, if I make a mistake or do something wrong, I could get locked up, I could go to jail, and this thing that I have with this girl, with this woman, might not be. And again, you don't know what you're going to do until you're in it. So you can say, babe, I'm going to be there with you, I'm going to ride it out with you, and you might even tell yourself in your head, I could wait for this nigga for 2 years, 3 years. But if you hear he got 12 years or 15 years, then it's like,
yikes.
It's like, did I really mean that? Like, how long is it going to take for me to tell him? It might take me 3 years to tell him I can't do 15. Yeah. Like, but I did 3 with you, but it might take me 3 years to tell you I ain't got.
Some people do it
12
though.
More in you.
Some people do it. And but what you said is very important. You never know what you would do until you're in that situation. Of course, sitting here or sitting in that moment in our life, everything in me would have said, I'm going to ride this out with you.
So
but if they would have said 40 years.
You don't know what you would have said. You probably would have been like, there's just no way. Like, he don't expect me to do that. But again, love make you do dumb shit. And I just think it's going to go one way. We don't have, like, you can't have that kind of relationship, one person in prison, and you waiting on them for 40 fucking years. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Right. I mean, yeah, some people definitely do it, you know, to each their own.
But the turmoil of knowing that any day me and you could be over, the turmoil of walking around not seeing my daughter the way that I want to, that relationship is fractured. Obviously, being in trouble, I couldn't show up the way that a parent is supposed to show up, a dad is supposed to show up. That affected our relationship. And feeling like I can't show up for you the way that I wanted to because of what I'm walking around and carrying. Things at work where, you know, you got to show ID and you got to do things like that. Like, all that shit affected me in a way where it's like, it's shrinking me. So yeah, it was a lot of turmoil walking around with that shit, and the daddy issues, all that stuff was compounded on that.
Wow. So 24 to 34, you lived a life of seclusion, but we still had a relatively good life. Like we did things. So
Yeah, we
what?
did things and we did a lot of things actually. But a lot of those years are like a blur. You remember way more than I do. And it ain't because I smoke people.
He
She
don't
just
remember
I don't
6
remember
months ago.
directions that I took a week ago. So
No, let me tell y'all. His brother and my sister-in-law, love them dearly. Hey, Keish. They live in the same house. They've probably been there 5 years, maybe.
a little more probably.
All right. But every time we go there, he needs GPS. Every single time he needs GPS. Prior to that, where they lived, they probably were there like 10 years, maybe. I don't know. I might be wrong about the time frame. Every time we went there, he needs GPS.
For anybody who know Elkins Park, up by Cheltenham, across the street from Home Depot,
That
every
Linwood Gardens
yeah.
is where they used to live.
every goddamn house and street look the same. So anybody familiar with that area, you can turn down one street and all the goddamn houses look the same.
Every single time he would need GPS. Their current home, every single time. How many times we've been there? Probably 20. He needs GPS. So his memory is shot. But anyway, we lived a relatively good life. What kept you? But I know there were some very, very dark moments during that time. What was the battery in your back that kept you going?
You, Jada. Yeah, you and Jada.
So I should call myself Duracell. Since
No,
I was your
y'all
battery.
just was I would call hope.
Wow.
So that's what it was. When my hope was leaving or my hope was shrinking, I could look at you and be like, she's why you still should be here. When I think about Jada, I would think one day that relationship is going to be what it's supposed to be, and you got to be here for that. So that was, if I had to say right, yeah, like that was the two motivating things.
Okay.
I thought about you, and okay, I don't want to do nothing stupid, or no matter how dark it get, like just you love me, and I respect that, and Jada, like just thinking one day it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and I want to show up for that.
Okay. So 34 to 44. Here we are today at 44. Let's go back 1 year. So 34 to 43. Well, I know after 34, some of those years were the same as they were between 24 and 34, but it got darker. So what led up to you being... No, you weren't 43 yet. You were 42. So what led up to the moment where you decided to pull the trigger, figuratively, because there was no more gun action, no more guns, but that led up to you deciding to pull the trigger, which then, voila,
set off
led
a
us
chain of
into
events
yes.
that I didn't think was going to happen.
Yeah. So first, what led up to that? What did life look like up until that point?
At that year, this is maybe a little emotional.
I don't want to make you cry.
No, but up until that point, like I was dying. Like this is going on for 23 years, and I'm dying. Like I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. And again, I've told you this before earlier in our relationship, it wasn't as hard. It wasn't as difficult. We've been on 16 driving vacations and did a bunch of shit together and hadn't created decades of memories. But it just growth and evolution, and it started not being enough. And it was like, okay, like I said, I used to walk outside or be at work amongst men, and I used to just feel like I'm not the same as y'all because I can't identify myself the way that y'all can. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I was shrinking. I was dying. I can't show up for my daughter the way I want to. I can't show up for my wife the way I want to and take her to trips and do all this shit that we promised each other for all these years. And I'm growing too as a man, and I want more, and I want things, and this shit has gotten to be, 200 pounds when it started. Now it's 1,000 pounds, and I just can't fucking hold it no more.
You know, it's weird when you mention being in a room full of men or people and just feeling like I'm not the same. Those things that, I don't want to say regular people, but us people who have lived normal lives, who haven't encountered any criminal issues, where ID is ID. Like, you get ID, you have ID, you go through life with ID. And I always look back and think about poignant moments in our life that really impacted you because, things that you couldn't do. Like, I remember we would always go places and do things. Being in New York City with our brother and sister, and just simply looking for a parking spot. And they hopped in the car with us so we can ride around the block looking for a parking spot. And he immediately shut down. I know him. This is my baby. I know his body language, and I could peep something was wrong. And he shut down because he didn't want them riding in the car with us. No shade. Not like he doesn't love them, but he knew that he wasn't legal and didn't want to put other people in danger. Me and him, it's a code. We know what to say, God forbid anything happens. But just when other people were in the mix, not wanting to allow other people to be impacted by your situation. And it was like little things like that. In the beginning, not that I knew the big picture. I just didn't realize those little things that really gnawed at you.
Oh yeah, walking in a Wawa, I felt like that. Just being away from you.
He would go buy rolling papers or whatever, and I
come back sometimes pissed off because
they want to card you. And I would go in there like, they better not card me. Like, I'm going in here and get your stuff for you, boo, and they better not ask me for my ID. Yeah. Or if they don't ask me for my ID, it's like, you better not ask me. But if you ask me, then I'm gonna be mad. Because if you don't ask me, I'm gonna be mad because why you asked him and you ain't asked me? Why you ain't let him buy his stuff? That I used to burn it up.
Those little things like that, as a man, chips away at you, and it just breaks your stone down. Because it's you standing in this store, you get to the line, you're a grown man, you drove around here, and they told you no, because you ain't got the proper identification. That shit breaks your heart in a sense, because it's damn, I'm just not a person.
Yeah. Wow. So that was it gave me the image that we were living in a box, and as we grew and grew and grew and grew, and there was no more room to grow in that box, the box didn't explode. Instead, it started to make you shrink.
Yes.
Because you just
to
felt
make room in the box, it just was shrinking me. I've never felt like that throughout the whole journey. I've never felt like that. And it's it's kind of like hindsight. I kind of knew this can't go on forever, and there's going to be a point in time where all this shit has to be rectified, whether you have to go away or not. But it's something you got to stand up to.
Okay.
So at that point, in the dark place, and thinking of hurting myself and doing all kinds of, just having all kinds of bad thoughts, the shit was wearing on me. I'm smaller and smaller every day I go out. I'm not the same as when I come home as I did when I left. I've shrunk more, and that's how I felt every day. And then, not to say, you were obviously an influence, but looking at you made it worse, because it's I seen your growth, and I seen our growth, and it's not only do I want more, I know she want more. And every time I look at her, every time we sit and see a commercial about a vacation, or every time a conversation we might hear somebody else saying, it's or we outside just chilling, having a great dinner, and we see a plane in the air. It's just look at it one day.
Oh, that makes me feel bad, because we used to play this dumb game that I made up. And it just made me feel so bad, because we would be out just chilling, like he said, and we would see planes in the sky, and I'd be like, babe, where you think that plane going?
Yeah.
Or where you think they coming from? And we would just make up stories. We people watch a lot, and we'll sit and people watch and make up stories about them. So we would make up stories about the plane, like, you know, where you think they going, where you think they coming from, and and it makes me feel bad hearing you say that, because why would I do that? I mean,
you
I didn't know how it would
making me
impact
feel
you,
then.
right?
Yeah, like that was shit that I only came to you for when it was like visibly affecting me. And you, like you said, you would come home and I'd be sitting in the dark, smoking, just chilling, TV low, or whatever, like just in a bad spot, like just thinking, damn, like I gotta live this shit again tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta do this again tomorrow. Like when is my tomorrow gonna be me? So that's how.
So the day comes, and I don't know exactly when the day happened, because I think it kind of, the ball started rolling before I was aware. You know, when you told me, like, look, this is what I did. You know, I made some telephone calls, and I'm getting this situation resolved. How did you feel at that moment and throughout that process? Because we know there was two ways this could have went. Act 2 could have manifested, or 20 years could have manifested. So what finally made you pull the trigger, and what was that waiting process like?
Like, what's our movie, Primal Fear?
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron, I can't
take it no more.
That's how I felt. Like I can't. Like I getting enough sleep and waking up exhausted and feeling like your time has run out. That the rope is done. Like you can't do this anymore. You can't be this anymore. You have grown so much inside that you need to burst out of this before you literally the light go out. And that's when it was like real dark, when I told you, okay, I'm thinking about hurting myself. Like I want to talk to somebody. So that's what led up to, and I had a few mornings where it was like calling the lawyer today. And it was like I chickened out. I got chickened out. Like once I got in my car and got busy, it was like, yeah, I ain't gonna do it tomorrow. And a week or two might go by, and then I'm feeling like shit, and then I get the courage again. And it was like, all right, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, and talk myself out of it. And then it was just like, okay, I remember like the third or fourth time, it was like, okay, I'm doing this. And that was June 5th. And yeah, I made some phone calls, got some, because now, throughout this life we have, these decades we've been together, we accumulate shit. So I got resources now. So it's like now, it's not the beginning no more. I'm more educated, I'm smarter, I can go about this a different way. My fear is kind of relaxed a little bit. Now I'm not fearful of that anymore. I'm fearful of hurting myself. I'm fearful of what it's doing to me, let alone of what I have to face. Like I don't want to do that.
So that made you willing to face the consequences if you were not to.
Yeah.
And let's add, just adding a little history behind that too. This was during the pandemic, during COVID.
Yes.
So COVID started in March to May, and I know COVID negatively impacted a lot of people in a lot of ways. For us, it was an amazing time. Like he was out of work, they allowed him not to work, and he was still paid. I was working from home, so we had so much time together, and it really, like, it was such an amazing time. We used to walk for hours. Like we've been living in our neighborhood for 13 years now. We walked through blocks that we had never even driven down, just being outside. So it was an amazing time for us. So it's weird, and then maybe it all ties in together because of that time period spent together, us growing even more in our relationship, that made you, that you were still having those negative thoughts behind the scenes inside.
But it helped. But it's like, to me, I credit it to God saying, okay, you guys need this. While the world is being spun upside down, y'all are going to be able to come together. And unlike some families where COVID sat people down and tore them apart. People got divorced. It brought us closer together. Like at a time that we didn't know we needed that. But those walks, those talks, being confined and isolated like that, scared, watching the news every fucking day, like we needed that comfort and laughter and just walking around, like you said, walking through blocks. We've been driving around here 13 years. We ain't never seen this block. We ain't never seen these people. People was out on their steps speaking to us.
Yeah, hey, how you doing,
yeah,
neighbors?
because that was all we could do. And it helped a lot. And what I was going through. And at the same time, it helped us. So when that time came, it was like, okay, I'm ready for this. Like,
right.
I don't know what this is going to be, but I can't keep accumulating. And this might sound weird, but I can't keep. It went from accumulating stuff to accumulating this love for this woman, this desire for her, this desire to change and create this life for her, that I'm just, I can't do it no more.
So May 5th, then the ball rolls. We go through the motions. June 5th, we go through the motions, and here comes July 31st. Which you felt like was such a long time. I felt like, that's 2 months. Like, considering after 23 years having to wait 2 months for a decision to be made, it was one of those things that it just is based on a perspective and experience. I can say for me, it sheds so much light. One, because, being able to hear you talk about situations that I knew about but never heard about. And then seeing how you personify the image of manhood that I always knew that you were, but I guess seeing it in person, like, people talk about the code of the street and all that, people don't talk, and just hearing you go through the motions and take it all on your own. Like, no, I don't know nobody's name, I don't remember nobody's name, I don't know who else was there. It was like, he really a G. Like, he really a G. Like,
You told me we was talking to the lawyer?
Yeah. Like, he said, and then he like, I'm going to have to talk, say some things. I'm going to have to say some stuff. You all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right with hearing this. And I'm listening. And, he asking questions. He like, nah, I don't know. I don't know who that was. Like, I don't know what they look like. And I'm like, he is really a G. Like, they talk
crazy.
About code of the street. Like, this is what they mean.
I don't want no smut on my jacket.
I feel you. I mean, and again, I didn't expect anything different. You've never shown me for you to be anybody other than that. But seeing it, I guess you never really haven't, like, I know somebody do something to me like it's about to go down. But thank God it never had to go down. But seeing that really come in real life, and me sitting there in the corner, like, watching back and forth like I'm watching a movie or something, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's I didn't grow up that way, so yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So at that point, it's just about me. It ain't about nobody else. It's just about me.
14 months later, here we go.
14 months later.
We're in Act 2. We're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
We're in the thick of it. How do you feel? How does it feel today compared to... on July 31st is when you got the news, but he wouldn't believe it until August 1st. So...
I had to make some phone calls.
Yeah.
So call around with some people.
Since August 1st to now, 14 months later, how do you feel? How do you... how does today feel different than August 1st, 2020?
I feel ecstatic. Like, I mean, life is life. It's work and it's shit like that. But when all that's said and done, lights is off, I love my life. I'm ecstatic. What we did, what we're coming up on in a year, was the best day of my life. We've been on a plane 4 times in a year, going to different places.
You want to tell them about your first time on a plane?
What?
About, I thought we was going to have to cancel our trip.
I was a little nervous.
Yeah. You was a little nervous?
Yeah.
Was you that much nervous?
I was a little bit.
Or was you that much nervous?
Poquito.
Un poquito.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I was a little nervous, but I got over it quickly. I looked over and you was asleep.
Yeah, I went right to sleep.
So I looked over and you were asleep.
I went right to I go to sleep on the plane before the plane even takes off. Like, wake me up when we're landing. What do I need to be awake for?
To watch me.
But I thought we was gonna have to be like, excuse me, can we like do the usher, excuse me, and walk off the plane, because I just thought he was just so
Last
panicking.
time I was on a plane, I was 5 years old.
Yeah, so from 5 to 43.
Yeah, so that's crazy. But I got over it quick. The adrenaline, the excitement, and yeah, like that's the whole thing. Now that the situation is resolved and I can be who I am, we can create this life for us that we want to do and go, and like we work hard. So that's the life that I wanted to create for us, and I wanted you to have a part in it. I wanted you to be happy, and all the things that we talked about for decades. Like, that shit has to come to fruition. Otherwise, I would have died. I would have felt like shit. Like, damn, like that shit was all talk. Like, there was all talk. Like, what did you do to make any of that come true? And so, yeah.
Act 2, it really has become a part of who you are. You okay? So it's a podcast that you wanted to do.
Yep.
You enjoy it. We enjoy it. Did you think that, and it's not as big as it's going to be, and I am claiming that right now because I know that it's going to be
Put that out
for
there,
you.
manifest that.
Yeah, manifest,
it's gonna be the biggest
prayer,
podcast.
all that you want to say, but it's really become a part of who you are. Like, I know, people see it, like, our nephew just turned 18. Happy birthday, Toogie. He's
up,
like,
Chug?
what's up, International Walt? How does that make you feel, like, when people see you and that's what they call you?
It makes me feel good. It's a bit affirmation that what I'm saying, in my opinion, some people they can relate to. You know what I'm saying? That's all I think it's about. It ain't about, if it's some money, it's some money, but it's just about wanting to talk and wanting to have conversations, wanting to have lengthy conversations about real issues, about real stuff, about feelings. That's the problem in our society and our culture. We don't talk enough. We don't let shit out. So yeah, I'm glad that we picked each other, and I have a wife that I'm best friends with. I'm glad that on the other side of my growth that I have friends that I can talk to and we can vent to, and at work it's just not about work. We can actually talk about men shit and show real feelings and get shit out. Like, that's what the journey's about. Being on a healing journey, trying to be a better friend, a better dad, a better husband. That's all it's about. A better me. So that's Act 2.
That's awesome. What's next for International Walt outside of Act 2?
Ooh, I will probably have to get back to that. Because my focus is on Act 2 right now. Like, that's my drive. That's where my energy is at now. That's where my headspace is. I'm about to put the physical energy behind it and see what happens.
So that's the perfect segue into my next and last question. What's next for the podcast? What's next for Act 2, the podcast?
Created content, a life in the day of, just fucking with us, talking shit, sharing our perspective, sharing life, just sharing our emotions, sharing our feelings, talking about what we want to talk about. That's all. Showing perspective, being open, being transparent, and that's it. Hopefully the people gravitate to that. People can relate to it. People hear my story, hear your story, and they fuck with us.
All right, so we always like little games and stuff. So it's not those kind.
What happens?
Not those kind of games. But I just really quickly. So I just have 10 words that I'm going to say to you when or 10 things I'm going to say to you. When I say them, Just let me know the first response that comes to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Love.
Hate.
Power.
Struggle.
Respect.
Loyalty.
Loyalty was my next word. Loyalty.
Respect.
Fame.
Infamous.
Success.
Failure.
Goals.
Obtainable.
Faith.
Heart.
Natasha.
My queen.
Balcony.
Get butt naked.
Y'all know we love a balcony.
Get butt naked. I love that. That was a good interview. That was a great interview. I appreciate her. That was dope.
I told y'all my godmom Oprah gave me some skills. So
she wanted to talk to me about a few things. You know, I thought we should bring it here, our 40th episode. Bring it live and, you know, see what the people think. So hope y'all enjoyed it. But we ain't done yet. This is What's Your Beef? And my beef is this story about Jelani Day. So
I'm vaguely familiar.
This black boy was found dead in a river. There's a story out talking about how he was missing his organs, his liver, his spleen, his face was mutilated, his genitals was mutilated. They filleted a whole bunch of stuff, took his jawbone out, took his teeth out, and everybody on the internet was going crazy. Like, what the hell's going on with this shit? Like, I'm thinking it's like, what do you call it?
Witchcraft?
No.
Organ stealing? Black market?
Organ harvesting.
Or organ harvesting. Okay.
Organ harvesting. But when you start talking about jawbones and teeth,
yeah,
that ain't organ harvesting. Eyeballs and filleting genitals. But this goes around the internet for 2 days, and this is my beef, how shit comes out and people talk and people jump on stuff like this, and his mom had to come and say, whoa, 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 we ordered an earlier autopsy, that's why his organs is missing. They not missing. They was taken out during the first autopsy. That doesn't explain why his penis was filleted, doesn't explain why his jawbone was sawed out and his teeth was missing, because those are things that don't happen in an autopsy.
Right. So, but I will say this. They found, when he was found dead, they found his body in the water.
Mm-hmm. And this stuff wasn't eaten out; it was surgically removed.
Well, I was going to say, did they take a piece of his jawbone out to identify his dental records? Like
I don't know. They wouldn't have to do that though. They don't take your jawbone. They don't saw your jawbone out to identify your body. They pull a few teeth.
But I get
or they do a bite imprint.
I get what you're saying. Just the you know, what's that? Whisper down the lane.
Yeah.
You know, one person get a piece of a story, and the internet is the worst place for that, because things will spread like wildfire, but the truth is slower.
Right.
To spread. So I'm not surprised.
It's just fucked up. 3 grams. You ain't got no beef?
I you know what, I got a beef, but this might infringe on one of your grams. So okay. You want to do your 3 grams first?
Yeah, you want to do your beef last?
I'll do my beef last.
All right, you're going to have to get your beefs together because the beefs go together. You can't do them.
I know, but then if I do a beef and it's one of your grams, then you say, why are you taking one of my beefs?
1, 2, 3, 3 grams. We still got that. Superboy is gay.
Who is Superboy? Oh, Superman.
Superman is coming out, and I always grew up thinking that, now this is my thoughts on this. I thought Superman was Superman. I mean, it says it in his name. He's super. He can do a lot of stuff. He's Superman. So he always wanted to bang Lois Lane.
Okay.
So that's what I always thought. Come to find out, Superman had a son, Superboy. Okay. And Superboy is gay. He likes boys. And there's an image of Superboy kissing a boy.
So I saw that
emblem on his chest. So my thing is, now back, this is how, I don't want to sound contradictory, but when you get more information about stuff, it may alter your decision making a little bit. So when Boosie was saying Lil Nas X is showing us all this stuff and the kids and the kids and the kids, and nobody said nothing about the misogynistic lyrics and the way that black people depicted women in all the rap music, it's the same thing. We're showing what we want, he's showing what he wants. We both have that freedom. But now it seems a little bit like programming.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying it like is what's the difference between being inclusive and programming? Because it just seems, and to me, and I'm not saying like it should be an abolishment on it, but it just seems like everything is behind the LGBTQ community, where it's like we want to show inclusion in everything, like even old cartoons, even anything we put on TV, and it's like it has to be some variation of gay, homosexual, trans community in everything that's made now. And it's like, is that inclusion or is that programming? Because I'm sorry, because America or the society wants to follow behind that community and that movement. So what's the difference between inclusion and programming?
The need for inclusion is going to drive the world.
It's like, no.
The need for inclusion is going to drive the world right into the lake of hell.
Permanent. It's like, no, I'm just...
Yeah, I don't get that. Do you want to share your joke? Because I don't get it.
You would have to be there.
Okay. The need for inclusion is going to drive the world straight into the hellfire. Because my thing is this. Nobody really thought about Lois Lane. And I'm not, we'll talk about the Little Nas X and the misogyny and all of that in the music. But nobody really thought about Lois Lane. Like, you knew she was there, but you didn't really pay her no attention. And to your point, why do we have to now go back and revisit? So every situation, every publication, or every entertainment outlet that had a heterosexual interaction, we have to now balance it out by including a homosexual interaction. Like, why is that even a thing?
Right.
Like, children are watching this. Again, children, when you say Lois Lane, like, yeah, I knew she was there. I don't think I ever saw them kiss. Maybe they did. I wasn't into boy shows and stuff like that, Superman. But why is there a need? Like, why is there a need to balance everything out by giving the LGBTQIA plus whatever, that room or that seat at the table?
Don't do that. Be respectful. They'll cancel us.
I think that's what they call.
No, you said like LGBTQ.
No, I think they're called the LGBTQIA plus.
Oh.
I wasn't making that up.
Oh, all right. I was about to say,
I think that's what they're called. I know they got
cancel
some.
the shit out of us.
No, they got some. And see, again, why is that the thing? Why do you have to worry about, oh, you can't be offensive to them? Nobody's worried about people being offensive to black people and them being canceled. People, and I know it's from a comedic place, but tying into like the whole thing, and I hope this isn't infringing on one of your grams, tying into the whole thing with the David Chappelle special. It's like, oh, it's everybody's such in an uproar because it may have been slightly transphobic to some people. If you watched it, everybody's perception is different, but he told jokes about black people too. Nobody is saying, oh, we should cancel him because he said some offensive things about black people, but it's let you slightly step on the toes of someone from the homosexual community, then all of a sudden you can potentially get canceled. People have been demeaning, disrespecting, and just treating poorly black people for years.
Black and brown
people, but I'm talking about black people. The brown people can speak for themselves, but I'm just saying.
No, don't speak for the brown people too, babe. Don't be like that. On this show, we speak for the brown people. So just say
we've been being disrespected for years, and this whole cancel culture thing now comes about when anytime somebody offends somebody that's a part of the homosexual, transsexual, I don't know all the titles and labels they give themselves, but why is that even a thing? So to your point, yes, we should be taking a stance against the misogynistic lyrics, the misogynistic images, the things, even Fashion Nova. This is like really kind of left, but not really. I was looking at their page, and I never really look at their page. I think it was like ads or something. they were so sexual just for them advertising. I mean, it's lingerie, but you're showing a girl's coochie. But it's like, these are the things that we should be taking a stance again as well, because our children are being exposed to this. But it's only when it's offending that community that, oh, everybody's in an uproar.
Yeah. That did lead into one of the Grams, the Dave Chappelle special. Dave's the GOAT. Shout out to Dave Chappelle. I enjoy everything he does. Dave don't need nobody. Dave rich as hell. Dave don't need to be in nobody movies or on nobody networks. And that's a dope place to be in life.
But can I say one thing?
What?
Mr. Chappelle, can I have my money back, please?
Why? Oh, yeah. That New Orleans thing.
We were supposed to see Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
You know, the hurricane happened in New Orleans. Respect to them. The show was canceled.
They better get that.
My refund is pending.
Yeah.
They told us that we have to wait for the event planners or whoever to release the funds. Mr. Chappelle, please release my funds.
Yes, sir.
But shout out to him. I'm just saying, you just talked about he don't need nobody. He don't need my money either.
No, he don't.
What's your third gram?
You might not have no issue, no insight on this, but for people out there, my fellas who probably watch basketball, Kyrie Irving not going to play this year for not getting the vaccine. And I don't have an issue with somebody not getting the vaccine, but it's like when you tie to these entities and you say you're going to play basketball and you say you signed a contract, then I think things change a little bit. So you can't just you're a star player. You can't just not show up and change the championship aspirations for a team with other star players, James Harden, Kevin Durant, on a team, and you just take away their aspirations for a championship because of a stance you want to take, where it's like, bro, we signed up for this. Like, this is the NBA, this is the NFL. They're going to make us get the vaccine for us to work, for us to make these millions of dollars. So he's made about $150 million already. It's not like he's going to be fined $396,000 a game. So it's not like he needs it, but would you, for a stance like that, not nothing extra strenuous, but a COVID vaccine, would you take that stance versus millions of dollars if this is what your job is paying you?
So for me, it's bigger than just the vaccine. If he really feels, if he has some ethical reasoning, I don't think he should go against what he believes.
Well, let me put his reasoning out there. His reasoning is he don't have enough information and he don't want to put something he doesn't know about in his body. Now, I don't know if he went to sort out new information, because there's information out there, but that's his reasoning.
And we know that historically, Black and brown people in America have distrust in Western medicine for some reasons that are substantiated. We know that we don't receive the best care in many circumstances. We know that there are inequity issues as it relates to the care that we're given. Yes, there's a lot of information out there, and I have said repeatedly on many episodes my views on the vaccine. Got it. I don't know if I'm going to grow a tail in 10 years. I'm hoping that we'll all be healthy despite it. And at the same time, those who haven't been vaccinated, I know people who haven't, and they have remained healthy as well. To each their own.
What if you go to the doctor at 50 and they say, holy shit, are you a miracle baby? You're healthy as an ox.
Hey.
You got the body of a 20-year-old. What did you take back when you were 40?
So,
COVID vaccine.
The COVID vaccine helped me stay healthy. Maybe. I will say this. He used to have really bad knee problems. After 20 years of doing carpentry and construction, I'm talking about every night his knees were like swollen and painful. He got that good old J&J up in him. And like Dave Chappelle said, that's the third choice. He got that good old J&J. His knees stopped hurting. And again, this ain't no advertisement for anybody to get anything that they don't want. But we don't know what happened. But obviously, it's probably some sort of anti-inflammatory properties in the vaccine. But
Stop my knees from
His
hurting.
knees. We literally, like, probably a week after was like, your knee, you ain't been complaining about your knees. Like,
because I would ask her to rub them every night.
Every night. And they used to feel all mushy and ooky in the inside, like it was a lot of fluid. Nothing. And that's been since March you got the vaccine.
April 6th.
No issues at all. Like, not one night has he had to ask me to rub his knees. Crazy. But back to Kyrie Irving, you know, it's one of those situations. Again, his values, whether we agree with them or not, I don't suggest anybody go against their beliefs for money. And when you're talking about lots of millions of dollars, if somebody really standing that firmly on their beliefs, then, you know, it is what it is. You've said this before, and I agree. I feel like the vaccine, you know, there are a lot of people who are just not getting it because that mob mentality, like, their friends talk trash about it, so they don't get it. But if their friends all decided, oh man, I think there's something that we really should do, then I'm sure people will do it. You know, it's basketball. And those guys who are great just as he is, then guess what? They need to step up to the plate and show him, not just show him, but show the team that they can hold their own.
Again, let me say this and articulate this. I'm not trying to say nobody should get the vaccine or you should be forced. But in those situations, not even but, in certain circumstances, when you're in these big leagues and these NBAs and NFLs, you want to make these millions of dollars, and like, that's a part of it. That's a part of it. And you can't, they'll make it stringent to the point where you start to get fined $400,000 a game. I mean, you live a lifestyle. Just because you making these millions don't mean you ain't spending these millions. So you live a lifestyle where you can't afford to be fined $300,000-$400,000 a game. And if you sign up, if you're part of a team, it's different. Individuals, fine, but if you're part of a team, you have responsibility to the team, especially at the pro level. Like, this isn't AAU. This isn't high school. You have a responsibility to the team as a pro level. Y'all are pro athletes making millions of dollars. Show the fuck up.
So did you feel like that about Simone Biles, that she should have showed up?
No, that's different. Like, she had the twisties. That's different. Like, she could have broke her fucking neck.
Okay, I was just asking.
No, that's apples and oranges. That's two different things. Like, she had the twisties, and that's something that only a gymnast would know about.
She could have put herself in danger.
Yeah, like,
okay.
I heard that's when you flip, because a person's their daughter trained with Simone Biles, and I was listening to them say when you flip, your muscle memory tells you when to turn. Well, she lost it for a minute. And then with the cameras being around and you doing 6 flips in the air, you got to know which way to flip and when to flip. Because if you hit the goddamn mat on your neck or on your ankles, or shit, goddamn, if you knock yourself out or knock the wind out you, you're done.
All right, so let me tell you what's my beef, and then we're going to get into these comments. We've been seeing a lot of people,
it's only going to be on for an hour.
Right. Well, I think we're probably a little bit past that, so I'm not really sure. So this is my beef. Meek Mill. So I seen a thing on social media of where, you know, there was some complaints about people saying that the artwork from his album that has been plastered on a bus, it's been plastered other places too. I think it was like in the billboard in Times Square. It's been other places. You know, it's so misogynistic. It's, you know, degrading women. My thing is this, similar to what you talked about before, let's not pick and choose when we want to be outraged, because although the album artwork, you know, as it's being labeled, is not, it's depictions of women, so it's not like real live photographs and pictures. How different is that than what these chicks are posting with their big asses and coochies popping on social media every day? So when they're showing pictures of their titties and their boobs, and well, their boobs and titties the same thing. Yeah. Their titties and their butts, and they're bent over and they dropping it like it's hot, and they doing all this other stuff. Why are we not outraged at that? We're outraged because it's plastered on a bus in the image of artwork. Let me finish. You got statues that were made by, you know, white artists,
statues?
naked statues of penises, of boobs, and all that kind of stuff that have been around for centuries. And I'm not saying I'm in agreement, because I didn't even realize like that little pink dot
Was the pussy?
was the coochie.
It's a pussy.
Was the coochie on the artwork. And yeah, it's on a bus, and you figure, that's a little bit vulgar. But then when you look at social media, how vulgar is that? So if we're going to apply censorship, let's apply censorship across the board. Let's not say, oh, we can scroll and see all these people with their coochies popping, with their butts out. You got women that go to amusement parks with children with thongs on. But now we want to complain because, oh, it's artwork, cartoon characters. And again, I'm not saying that it's right. I didn't even realize what it was until it was pointed out. I'm not saying that it's right, but let's not pick and choose when we want to be outraged. And again, come across with this whole cancel culture, and we want to affect people's pocket. Be outraged across the board. That's my beef.
Okay. I think I agree with both issues. There is naked statues. There is Instagram that has, I mean, men talk about this in our circle. We wish the girls on Instagram put some clothes on.
Yes.
Because we're desensitized to everybody being fucking butt naked. Like, truly, we're desensitized to asses and titties and asses and titties and asses and titties. It's like you show somebody, a girl, like, yo, you seen? It's like, yeah, I seen her. Like, it's not a big deal no more. Like, we just desensitized from that. So we want girls to be like,
let's bring back modesty.
And I think there should be less of that on Instagram, but I also think that the tour bus thing or the SEPTA bus is wrong for having that. You can't, the statement, is the artwork misogynistic and depicts black women in a bad way? The answer to that is yes. Because they're bent over with their coochies out like they're stripping or dancing. He did make them a little thick. I don't know what the situation. Maybe it's the girl being from Chicago who did the artwork. Maybe that's her inspiration. But the girls are a little thick. You can see the pink dot, and it's misogynistic. If you're looking at the definition of it, that painting, that depiction is. Whether it should be on a bus where a guy is taking his daughter, 9 years old or something, 8 years old, they shouldn't be seeing that on a bus.
So why?
I don't care what you say. And I heard that it wasn't just on his tour bus.
That was like one of those. That was on one of those city tour buses that's like opened at the top where you can
like
ride
a New
around
York
and
bus?
sit. Yeah.
Okay.
They just had
It wasn't like a SEPTA bus.
No. So if some of those women were painted pink or yellow or orange to signify pink being a white woman, yellow being an Asian woman,
then
orange
it would
being...
just be women. See, the thing is, right, it's the content Meek Mill puts out. It's the reputation of how he is with women that create this narrative. So if he is dream chasers and they knock down all the girls in the goddamn industry and that's their thing, that if we get your girl, we gonna turn her out. That's their thing. So that's the energy and the lyrics that he rap. So to put that on his buses, it says like, okay, I have a low level of respect for black women, whether consciously or subconsciously. Not saying that he woke up and said, this is how I feel, but putting that there, that shit got past you, where you should have been like, whoa, I can't do this. Just like you always say in interviews, I got a mom, I got a sister that have been riding with me for years. Think about that shit when you look at your artwork, bro. That's all. Don't pick and choose when you want to use your mom and sister for a reason of, oh, black women should be up. But when you see your artwork piece, you got to say something about that. You got to be like, nah, let's not do that. Let's do it without the women. Or let's put all the women on there.
It was the pink dot for me. That took it to the next level.
Yeah.
They should have left out the pink dot.
Come on.
Yeah. All right, let's get into these comments. Thank you so much to those who have been participating. Let's see. We're going to scroll up. Oh, y'all been talking a lot. Oh, thanks, Crystal. Yes, the notes are really cute, super special. You know, nothing fancy, but for those who missed it, I was just showing everybody every episode we have, he writes me a little note, and I keep all of them here in my drawer. So one day I'm going to make like a scrapbook or something, but these are all my notes and we won't start the episode if he didn't leave me a note. All right. So Chris was saying her husband used to work at a business center and would print love letters and pictures. Oh, that's cute. Hey babe. Hey Snoop. Hey Keish, we love you. Yes, Erica, I wasn't shading you. You do support us in other ways. We love you. Our shirts that say A2TP join and A2TP boy, that's from Nurse E. So even though this is her first episode that she's watching, and she has the pleasure of watching it live, so welcome to the show, Erica.
I'll let you knock your own sister.
Crystal agrees. A fetus begins the 9th week after fertilization and continues until birth. So it's a fetus until it's born. And then it's a baby. So you were born today. No.
That's crazy. I mean, I take that for what it's worth, and I believe y'all, but that's crazy how at 7 months you get an ultrasound and the baby has a face and everything. Like,
but
I understand that, but if it came out a month early,
then it's a baby.
Right.
It's a baby once it's born. It's a fetus inside of you.
I got you.
He gonna try to tell me about female anatomy. I don't have one.
Look, the people talk.
Yeah. All right. So. Oh, I seen Nanette. Oh, I'm sorry, but she said she thought we were live on YouTube. I didn't know you could go live on YouTube. Maybe we'll use that platform another time, but I didn't know there was an option. But thank you for joining. Keisha said Tug loves the daily dose of wisdom from International Walt. My nephew Tug is the sweetest. He's so charming. He be heart-eyeing all my pictures.
I can't believe he's 18.
Yes, love him to death. Yeah. Yeah, so, Nanette was saying about, I'm sorry, what about those who go back and forth to jail? Yeah, that's a good point. People who go...
Recidivism.
Recidivism. And you know, I always had this theory. I feel like it's less responsibility for some people in jail. They feel more comfort because it's hard adulting. Not saying, you know, it's hard adulting.
No, it's crazy how you can tell a perspective from being in prison because your time there.
Of course, I've never been to prison, so I'm not trying to speak for anybody. But yes, that's what my own Tasha-ism. That's what I think. There. Yes. Nanette, you like my criminalistic endeavors? You know, we're good with the dictionary. Yes, Keish, we try to have very necessary conversations. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I know that I don't know if you guys have watched all of the episodes, but hopefully you'll get caught up. Maybe we can have them as guests one day. I don't know. We'll see how that works. But thank you so much for joining. And Crystal agrees there should be levels of for different crimes. So rapists shouldn't be in jail with bank robbers or something like that. So, and Annette, yes, I remember basketball games used to get shot up. That's so scared and so sad. Yes.
In Susquehanna, yeah.
Yep, I remember that. And Keisha said everybody has to GPS to get there. But it is his memory too. Don't give him no excuses.
Bullshit, yes. Keish, you know.
Hey Misty, I love you. Thank you for joining. And yes, water and prayer heals everything. Anybody that knows me know, no matter how sick he is, I'm gonna ask him, did he drink some water?
I could break my fucking leg and come in the house from work. She gonna say, did you drink water? I could have a bone sticking out. She gonna say, sit down, let's go to the hospital, but here goes some water.
Water heals. Water really heals.
Not a bone sticking out your leg.
I don't understand how people don't drink water. I don't get it at all.
She would say that's how your bone broke. You didn't drink enough water.
Yes. Yes, Keish, God was definitely preparing him. And you have been there from, you've been there throughout our 20 years. We've been neck and neck. So we thank you for all of your love and support through those years. Let's see. Thank you so much, Snoop. We appreciate it. And Keisha said, not to mention, yes, this is Jelani Harris. Hardly got any press when he first went missing. That's true. But then when negative stuff came out, again, those rumors start to spread like wildfire. Yep. Definitely comes down to money. Yes, Erica agreed. The full acronym is LGBTQIA+.
Cool.
Okay.
Get that tomorrow.
Yep. Misty says she wished the same efforts was put into the inclusion of LGBTQ they would when it comes to the inclusion of black people. Huh.
Yeah, that's the question. That's my point. Like, what's the draw between inclusion and it seems like it's just programming? Like, why aren't we including black people and stuff like that?
Absolutely, yes. Keisha said Kyrie needs to kick rocks barefoot. She said nobody should be pressured to get immunized, but he's fighting everything. He even fought the bubble.
Yeah.
And he just may be one of them people who just want to cause a ruckus, and then probably ends up doing it anyway.
He said in quotes, I want to give a voice to the people. I mean, I want to give a voice to the voiceless. I don't even know what that means when they talk about the vaccine.
And the voice to the voiceless.
And I don't even know. Like, there's a thing called social media, bro. Everybody's got a fucking voice.
Yeah.
Like, everybody can say something.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Keish. Was the kids listening when I said coochie popping? I'm sorry.
And when I said pussy.
You said the P word.
All right, come on.
Yes. Crystal, you was in jail for one night. Oh, when we have our date, I need details because I ain't never been in nobody's jail. I've been in the back of a cop car once when my earrings got snatched, so they were taking me to file a report. And then another time I got
apprehended.
No, not apprehended. I got approached by the cops, and me and my friend were sitting in the car. You know, there was a lot of smoke in the car, and we rolled the windows down. And this cop was so dramatic. His partner walks up, and he tells his partner, "Yeah, I walked up, and they rolled the windows down, and the smoke came billowing out." I was so annoyed, and I sat there. And my friend was so mad. Tia was so mad at me because I couldn't stop laughing. She was like, "Why are you laughing at the cops?" He was so dramatic. So that was really my only like negative interaction with the cops. Thank God we didn't go to jail, but that was it. Yes. So thank you. Yes, tacos and tubs. That would be our date night.
Appreciate the responses. Appreciate the comments. We appreciate the interaction. We we fuck with y'all. We glad y'all fuck with us. We appreciate it. So, again, you can catch us on YouTube. We on the gram. We got more lives coming. We got more stuff coming. We got A2TP.com. We got merch coming. She got the merch on. We got different merch than that. That's just like a prototype.
Yeah.
But we got different merch. Some solid material, solid colors. We're on Breaker. We're on Anchor. We're on Spotify. That's it. So we appreciate y'all. Act 2 the podcast, episode 40, live. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.